After a trip to America's home for racing, the Highline Racing League gets a chance to return to the marvelous Michigan International Speedway with the Motor City 200 presented by Culture Designs. As it stands, qualifying going to be on the move with 8 minutes and 30 seconds left on the timing charts. Looking at defending winner Scott Zellner, who got it done at Charlotte just a week ago, and now looking to go back-to-back and one of the fastest tracks on our schedule. Gen 4's Michigan speeds over 200 miles an hour with unrestricted engines. It's going to be, by all accounts, a fantastic night of racing, and we're lucky to present it to you live exclusively on FTN. But a doubleheader here for the FTN crew. I'm David Kreutz, leading you through all the action tonight, producing and commentating tonight's showdown here up north. But in a day of the Northeast races, Watkins Glen up first with the Iora Cup Series, and now taking it to Michigan with the Highline Racing League, and the Premier Series taking to one of the premier SuperSpeedway style tracks in stock car racing. 2-mile circuit in Brooklyn, Michigan, and speeds higher than even that of the plate tracks here with the Gen 4 package. Fast speeds, and even faster it is going to be until we get to our final races of the season. It's been a rapid season here in the Highline Racing League, night after night of action-packed racing, and it's bringing us to the home stretch very soon with about a month and 2 weeks time, month and a half's work before we get to that season finale. Drivers are beginning to prepare for what's next on the agenda to see what they can do to continue their championship chances. Adam Bozzi goes up to the top of the board, the number 27 two-time winner this season with back-to-back victories for Queen City Racing before we headed to Charlotte, and this garage beer number 27 knowing he's got what it takes to go for a third if he can keep it up there all throughout the night. Dylan Clark going to then be qualifying in the second spot in the number 5 machine. Scott Wheeler now going to put himself in third, and Dylan Petit then going to be in fourth. 15 drivers have taken the time to this point. Connor Holden's going to come across the stripe, and at the line for the number 81, Connor Holden goes to position number 6. So Connor is going to put it up into the 6th spot. We've got some drivers returning for the first time this season, notably looking at John Peterson and the number 44 team, as they're going to be on our time and scoring charts. Peterson, one of them now, only 6 drivers not to take a lap. Roberto Ramirez, one of those who are taking its first right now. And for this number 42 machine, part of course last week's release at Charlotte, a brand new look for the 42 crew, and it's going to be the M&M throwback here, Toyota Camry and all. And for Roberto Ramirez, last night, or rather last week, incredibly memorable for one of the most exciting, shall we say, incidents of this season. Season 16 seeing its fair share of excitement, but Charlotte Motor Speedway giving us a chance to get some late race action. Ramirez found himself off of all fours, up in the air after a late race caution, and that's one of the more memorable highlights of an action-packed night in America's home for racing. And coming through this time by, we're going to see Roberto Ramirez on the move, and Strawberry Kid 59 mentioning one thing about Dylan Clark coming in tonight, the number 5 machine. He's coming through as a Truck Series winner, so looking to go back-to-back for Dylan Clark coming through on Tuesday night. He got it done in New Hampshire then. Now looking for an opportunity here in Michigan from a shorter track with a less powerful machine. Now he's going all out, unrestricted, and Clark looking for a back-to-back shot at getting it done. Kendall Kerr going to be on pit road right now, and looks like Kendall, your Rockingham winner this season, is going to be on the track for the first time. Roberto Ramirez shoots up to 4th on the board, and it looks like he still has one more chance to put a lap down. 5 minutes and 8 seconds remain on the timing charts, and for Roberto Ramirez, he drops it down and nosedives in, and his qualifying run is done and done just like that. Ramirez is going to spin to the edge of the wall, retaining wall that will be, and Kendall Kerr, now the final man, set to take a qualifying lap. For Kendall Kerr, the number 21 team has done well this season, proving to be a consistent contender. 1 win so far at Rockingham, otherwise still been a very competitive season for the Lucas Oil Chevy Impala. And right now, looking to go for win number 2. He's got his teammates up at the front of the field right now. Brad Kress going to be qualifying in 5th, but bent from there, you'll see Alan Koopman and James McKee both having some qualifying trouble, 13th and 14th respectively. So right now, Brad looks to be the fastest of the blacktop racing drivers. We'll see whether or not Kendall can usurp him as he comes across the stripe this time by to get his first qualifying lap on the move. And for Kendall Kerr making it around this time by, as it stands, it looks like 18 drivers have taken a time lap, and now Kendall Kerr set to be the 19th. Only drivers that have not gone out on the track for a timed qualifying lap will be Justin Gibbs, John Peterson, and Ty Smith. Those are the three we're still waiting on, and in the case Kendall Kerr is the final man to put it in the qualifying with a time lap, they'll be starting outside of the top 20. At least two of them will be, with Justin Gibbs, Peterson, and Smith making up the 19th, 20th, and 21st spots at the moment. Kendall Kerr going to take that 19th by default. Looking to go for a bit more, though. At the line, 197 miles an hour. Kendall Kerr going to jump all the way up into position number 8 on the first lap. So Kendall Kerr up to 8th and still looking to be a bit quicker this time around. Let's ride on board with Kendall Kerr, this time through with Nick Rhodes in chat. Kendall Kerr is a wall, and it looks like his qualifying run all but done on that one piece of content. We got some fans in the chat already representing their favorite drivers and their favorite teams. Connor Holden with a QR code on the hood, a nice touch to his number 81, and looking to come home with his first win of the season. Connor Holden, now some fans in the chat room as well, as Kendall Kerr dives into pit road this time through. So it looks like Kendall will end his qualifying run prematurely, and the Lucas Oil number 21 is down a pit road with 2 minutes and 48 seconds left on the timing chart. Well, I'll tell you this much right now, no other driver looks set to go out on the track. Kendall Kerr going to be on pit road, but nobody else looks ready to get back out there. So without further ado, qualifying almost all but concluded, and it looks like most drivers, if not all, have already taken their respective laps. So without further ado, let's find out who's starting where tonight in Michigan. This is the Motor City 200 presented by Culture Designs, and how's about we find out who starts where, most importantly, who's starting up in front. Going to be Adam Bozzi in the number 27 machine, two-time winner already on the tour, finding himself first in the qualifying order today. Adam going to be there, pole position, right next to Dylan Clark, and the number 5 starting in the second spot. Number 5 team going to be there on the front row. Then from then on out, it's going to be Scott Wheeler starting in the third position. Number 97, Wheeler going to be beside Roberto Ramirez. Ramirez with a flying lap gets himself up inside the top 5, with the final man inside the top 5 being just beyond the second row, Brad Kress for Blacktop Racing. Dylan Petit, who's been solid all season long, some bright spots as of recent, now going to be starting in 6th on the day as he puts the number 31 machine ahead of Scott Sellner, your defending winner, who got it done in victory lane at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Kendall Kerr with a final time taken in qualifying gets 1 lap in, good enough for the 8th position, so not a bad place to start in the slightest. Kendall Kerr in the number 21 start inside the top 10 firmly, with the 9th place being held by the Holden Leaders, number 81 of Connor Holden, and Chad Winstead will round out the top 10 in his number 34. Winstead going to be the final man outside of row number 5, and then from there, Lucas Lodato on a part-time schedule has been one of the best drivers to make the jump up from the Truck Series up to Premier. He'll be starting inside of row number 6 and number 11 spot, with Caleb Morrissey rounding out your top dozen. 13th place going to be occupied by Kenny Brooks, and James McKee will occupy your 14th position, and it looks like the Alan Cookman number 8 crew not going to get the best of results here in qualifying, going to be starting in 15th, right beside the Culture Designs number 23 of Terry Brooks. Then from there on out, you're going to see inside of row number 9, it's going to be Austin Bloom starting 17th, and Jacob Holmes number 76 in the 18th position. 19th then going to be Tyler Rush in number 72, and Ty Smith, the number 18, will round out your top 20. Returning for the first time this season, going to be John Peterson's number 44 inside of row number 11, and Justin Gibbs of the 22 drivers in the session will be the 22nd and last on your starting grid for the Motor City 200 here in the Michigan International Speedway. And as drivers come past your start-finish line and onto the racing circuit for the first time today, you'll see them lining out of pit road. Got fans in the chat already, Miss Misty as well, Nick Rhodes, Strawberry Kid 59. If you've got a favorite driver, a favorite team you'd like to support, unlimited chat access comes with liking the stream and subscribing to the channel. That's all you have to do to subscribe. It takes just about a second's worth of effort, and we truly do hope you enjoy the broadcast, so it's no worry if you do subscribe or not. We got all the action of the Highline Racing League every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern. We start our coverage, and River Page and I have been taking on the duty, splitting up the effort, and he's been helping us out dearly when it comes to the eNASCAR work we have to do. I've been working over there on the eNASCAR side. River's been helping us out with producing the Highline Racing League. Now, I can say I should be good to go for the rest of the season. We might be bringing back River a time or two, but either way, I'm sure he wouldn't want to miss this race if he had the opportunity. Gen 4s at Michigan, they are high speed, high attrition. You gotta worry about your tires. Your strategy means as much as your speed, and on a track that can take you ahead of 200 miles an hour quite easily, it's a very big balancing act. If you can manage that raw pace alongside the strategic elements, you'll be sure to come home with a good finish here in the Motor City, and that's what it's all about tonight. The Motor City 200 going to be led by Adam Bozzi, a two-time winner on the campaign already, looking to go 3 wins on the season as the green flag falls in Brooklyn, Michigan. We're green for the Motor City 200. Coming across the line, 99 laps to go. The first lap is a flyer, and it might have not been the best of the laps on the timing sheets, but still already speeds of above 195 miles an hour at the start-finish line. That's how quick things are here in Michigan, and it's going to be Adam Bozzi leading the first lap ahead of Dylan Clark and Brad Kretz with trouble already. Ramirez spins, and the caution is due to fly. Will it? Yes, it does. Caution will fly, and just like that, Roberto Ramirez goes round spinning. Luckily, nobody else is going to get caught in that situation. Ramirez is going to be scot-free, and it looks like spot-free that will be, so gets off without any trouble. Roberto Ramirez is going to be involved in that first incident, but nobody else going to make contact. Yellow flag will fly, and it looks like Ramirez the cause of the caution. We'll take an instant replay and find out just what happened, and just like that, down the back straightaway, some contact there with Kendall Kerr, sends Ramirez spinning, nobody else hits him, and while he looked to be free-falling down the tarmac, luckily, nobody else makes contact. Good to see that everyone keeps it clean for the most part despite the spin. And already we're seeing some trouble here in Michigan. 22nd and last, Roberto Ramirez will fall down to the final spot on the running order. Caution will fly. 2 laps in out of 100. 98 laps to go. Now we're on to lap number 3. And Roberto Ramirez finds himself the center of attention, but not for a good reason, as he fades back now 22nd and last. Adam Bozzi remains a race leader. Some big shuffles throughout the field. Brad Kress is able to jump up into 3rd in the Dodge Mopar number 9. A beautiful throwback to Casey Kane. And you might have noticed a few new paint schemes today, and they all have one thing in common. From Dylan Clark's number 5 to Scott Wheeler's number 97. Further on back, you're also going to see drivers such as, I think that's going to be the number 7 of Lucas Lodato and Chad Winstead's number 34, all representing the color pink tonight, and that is because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We'll be mentioning that a lot on FTN this month, not only here in the Highline Racing League, but in the Integrity Octane Series, as their next few races will all be racing for breast cancer, as we hope to continue fighting for awareness for the disease. Of course, cancer, one of the most important topics of health throughout the country, and breast cancer in particular, going to be seen prominently all throughout the month of October. So here in the Highline Racing League, we're covering that topic as well, and multiple pink machines are going to be up in the front of the field fighting prominently for the top spot. Number 97 of Scott Wheeler is going to be in 4th. His teammate is Scott Zellner is going to be 5th, and the Scott and Scott show, once again, the Flying Scotsmen round out the top 5, and they'll be behind only Brad Kress, Dylan Clark, and Adam Bozzi. Some drivers come down to pit road, namely Dylan Petit, Roberto Ramirez, and Kendall Kerr. It looks like Kerr is going to be the one who's only stayed on for a few seconds. The other drivers came down to pit road beforehand, so Kendall's going to be alone on pit road right now. Ramirez and Dylan Petit both came down beforehand, so some pit road strategy already coming into play. 97 laps to go, only 4 laps in, and Adam Bozzi has led every lap to this point. Your pole sitter still has the race lead as they come around this time by, and we're set to get back at it yet again. First clean lap, the number 5 machine, Dylan Clark, going to be second to Adam Bozzi. first and second, it's going to be the 27 and number 5 as they were in qualifying, and they're set to go at it once again for lap number 6. The iRacing official pace car will take them down to the start-finish line again, and we should be set to go double file. Admins are going to be calling for a double file restart. Choose cone going to be effect, top side or bottom, so we will not be going to our double file restarts immediately here, 2x2, and it's going to be Bozzy choosing high and Dylan Clark going down low. Rest of the field going to respond accordingly as well. Looking further back, guys are choosing high and low as well, all the way down now to the number 18 of Ty Smith and his Bass Pro Shop machine. Got 2 Bass Pro Shops machines in one frame. Alan Kunman also going to have the same paint scheme, just different colors. Now it looks like all 22 drivers are back with the pack. Kendall Kerr going to be on the lead lap, but down to 22nd, so not good at all for that 21 team. From 8th on the grid, now down to 22nd. So already some gains to be made as the race goes on, and certainly spots to be recovered as they'll come around this time by. The iRacing official pace car will lead Bozzy, Clark, and Scott Wheeler. That is your 1-2-3 combination right now live on FTN, and if you're looking forward to the rest of our schedule here on the channel, we'll have a doubleheader on Saturday, and the full Send Super Speedway Series will return to glory with the Gen 4s at Daytona. So we're going to try to invite some of these drivers down to our Saturday showdown. We're going to have a chaotic league on Saturdays alongside the Saturday Night Truck Series, which is a more formal racing league. They'll have their throwback night at Atlanta on the same day at 7:45 Eastern. Coverage starts for the Saturday Night Truck Series, and the Gen 4s at Daytona begin at 4:45 Eastern, only on FTN. But now as we get back to it here, Highline Racing League set for the first restart of the season at Michigan. Pace cars in. Adam Bozzy is ready to get back at it once again. Green flag will fly, led by Adam Bozzy in the garage beer machine. Let's go through the Geico restart zone and get back in motion. Green flag's out, led by Adam Bozzy. And for Adam Bozzy, going to be a huge jump off the line. Dylan Clark going to be second, and it's going to be Scott Wheeler in third, not to be outdone by Brad Kress, also in there inside the top 5 picture. Connor Holden holds himself up high. He's going to got Scott Zellner right down low, so some shuffling inside the top 5, and then looks like the field's a bit more dispersed than before. Not as many clusters of cars. They're going to be a bit further apart from one another, so good to see as we try to get some long green flag racing on our way. 7 laps in for Adam Bozzy. He's going to lead us through 94 laps to go. And the number 27 machine occupies the top spot. He's got a few drivers chasing him down already. Brad Kress goes over to the top side. He's got Scott Zellner right down low. Side by side, it's going to be drivers are brushing up with the wall, trying not to make contact. And for Caleb Morrissey, you'll see there's a channel lock machine going to be inside of the top 10, hoping to pull together this season. Has not been the best of which for this number 98 Ford Taurus, but he's shown race-winning pace. He struggled first with the Gen 4s in Season 14, rather than Next-Gens. Pulled it together for a fantastic Season 15, winning twice at Nashville and at Talladega, and he knows he's a multi-time winning caliber driver, but just needs the chance to show it, and it looks like with his teammates just ahead of him, he's now racing with the best of the best. Scott Wheeler is going to see his teammate go right up high, and Caleb Morrissey puts himself at the top side of the track, trying to get something going, but the third lane doesn't work out as they come down the back straightaway, and Scott Wheeler holds his position using that middle groove. Already the high side and the low side being used effectively. Looks like Brad Kress is running the lowest through the track, but the second groove being used best by Dylan Clark, and he's trying to use that second groove to get a bit of both sides of this track. Not only, of course, metaphorically, but literally. He's trying to get the advantages of both being on the top side with more momentum and trying to get down low to cut that distance. Now for Brad Kress, he's driving it lower than almost any other driver on the track right now, especially through turns 3 and 4, and it looks like nobody else trying to go that far down to the bottom, but 9 laps in here on FTN. As always, lap 9 presented to you by Tango Paints, our official graphic design partner. For prices you can't beat to represent your sim racing identity, the best paint schemes and liveries on the iRacing market, head down to Tango Paints on Twitter for more information. Told over to the entire Tango Paints team, creating fantastic liveries since 2021, and if you want to get anything done for your iRacing paint schemes and liveries, check out Tango Paints, the official graphic design partner of Fireball Talks NASCAR Live. We'll be right back after a brief promotional break courtesy of our friends at Tango Paints. Check them out on Twitter after tonight's broadcast. And with Dylan Clark, your new race leader, 10 laps in onto lap 11. Dylan's been able to get the jump. He's having some blinking issues, though, back and forth, so hopefully it doesn't affect him all too much. But on our end, he's going in and out intermittently. Not major issue, but it looks like an issue for Caleb Morris as he fades back just a bit. Number 98 machine with the rookie stripes on is going to get in the wall, tap it just a bit, and fade back now into ninth. Fighting fiercely for a top 5 spot, Caleb Morris, he finds some trouble, and he finds the wall, and now is going to drop back further to let James McKee get inside the top 10. Morrissey's going to drop down to the bottom side, try a crossover maneuver, getting down to the bottom of the track. Will only do him good for so long, and it looks like he won't be able to make much of it now as he drives it down to the middle side, needs a better run through turns 1 and 2 to really seal the deal. And it looks like even though the front stretch didn't do him all too much justice, that's exactly what Caleb Morrissey needs to stay inside the top 10, despite some wiggling as the drivers roar by our backstretch camera. They're getting as close as they can without making contact. That's the end goal right now for Dylan Clark and Adam Bozzi. First and second right now, separate by just about 0.2 of a second, and Scott Zellner now in third. But take a look at drivers such as Dylan Petit and Connor Holton now coming to the play as well. Single file, they are up in front for the top 5 drivers, but they're getting even closer to one another now, and it might just be waiting for the long haul. 13 laps in of 100 here, so you do not want to mess up your equipment. No faster pairs in the Highline Racing League, so these drivers definitely know it's a one-and-done opportunity. You got to keep yourself clean all throughout the night. But for Scott Zellner, this number 2 machine has been able to come through with race victories, even if he's gotten damaged before. Remembering our race at Legacy Atlanta earlier this season, he went around an early caution, spinning over the track, and eventually came back to come through with a fight for the checkered flag. And now, with multiple victories on the tour, Scott Zellner is sitting firmly inside the points race, and even though he might not be the leader right now, he's certainly one of the drivers to look at as the rest of this season goes on. More than halfway down, and now with crunch time coming upon us for the championship contenders, no playoff system. It's not a win and you're in. You've got to be consistent each and every night. And for Dylan Clark, he knows he needs to step up his game and get that one defining run that will push him into the rest of the season. Dylan Clark right now finds himself ahead by 1/4 of a second over Adam Bozzi. Then you'll see Dylan Petit in third, Scott Zellner in fourth, and Connor Holden in fifth. Brad Kress going to be sixth, and Scott Wheeler's then going to be seventh, with Kenny Brooks eighth, Kendall Kerr ninth, and Caleb Morrissey rounding out your top 10. That's the way they've gone so far, so good in this event to this point. No major troubles throughout the field. Justin Gibbs going to drop down to the bottom side and make it past Lucas Lodato. And Lucas right now running inside the 18th position. We've seen what he's capable of in only his second career start at the aforementioned Legacy Atlanta race this season. He came through with a thrilling podium finish. And even though he's one of the drivers, one of the first drivers to make it from the Truck Series up to the Premier Series, he's been impressive in his limited runs this season and hopes to go full-time competing in season 17 to continue his progression up the racing ladder in the Highline Racing League. One of the many talents getting a chance for the first time in the Premier Tour. Michael Deitch most recently got his debut last week. We've seen other drivers coming through the ranks like Nicholas Pressey and his number 94 machine. In addition, the likes of which also Lucas Lodato, and not to mention, we've also got drivers like John Peterson making it into the field for the first time in over a season and a half. And for John Peterson, right now the Rockstar number 44 running in the 22nd position, keeping it clean. That's the end goal right now as Peterson finds himself beyond the touch of the pack. It's right now going to be all about keeping it without any damage and waiting for the later portion of the race. Still getting to grips with the Gen 4 machines. Of all the drivers in the field, John Peterson might have the least experience with the field as of recent. We remember him from season 14, but ever since then, not seen often in premier competition. Now getting a chance to get back up at the top level of the Highline Racing League again and finding himself running dead last, admittedly without any damage. Has not caused a wreck tonight. He's simply there minding his own business, biding his time, so no worries right now for Peterson as he tries to claw in Jacob Holm just ahead of him. And Dylan Clark now going to see some more pressure from Adam Bozzi right behind the number 5 machine. Bozzi's number 27 becoming more and more apparent as the laps are slowly but surely coming through. Looking now at not only the driver, the number 5 in Dylan Clark, but also seeing outside of his cockpit at the same time. You'll see most drivers are going to be single file in a line right now, but Adam Bozzi is right there right behind him. One driver nosediving down to the bottom of the track. It looks like whoever it was saved it, but it's going to be trouble for Connor Holden as he goes down to the bottom side of the circuit. And now the 81 fades outside the top 10. Connor Holden with some trouble down the backstretch, and luckily keeps it going. And that's the most tricky part about having such high speeds at this track. You've got to be precise with the speed you got, and you cannot afford to lose control, not one bit. Scott Zellner now going to make it by for a second, looking inside the cockpit and looking more specifically at the angle that's going to show his steering inputs. More about what's going on for Scott Zellner right now as they look inside. Backstretch battle. It's going to be 82 laps to go. Lawrence Stazweski Jr. rooting on Caleb Morrissey's number 8 position he's going to be in. And right now Morrissey trying to chase down Dylan Petit. But you'll see steering it back and forth through the corner. It's not simple. It almost looks like turning right to go left. And that's because the banking here at Michigan, it is a very quick track. And the banking carries you around the circuit. It is not easy. It might look so, but high speeds don't come without high stakes. So 81 laps to go. And already drivers are working each other over. And for Caleb Morrissey right now, he finds himself in the heart of a battle to stay inside the top 10. Right now, Morrissey going to find himself firmly in the 8th position, but James McKee right there as well. So if McKee can get a lunge at that number 98, we're sure he'll try to take that spot away in due time. The channel lock number 98 drops from the low side for a brief moment, then goes up high. Going to now try to chase down Dylan Petit. Dylan with not much of a run down the front straightaway. And looks like now Caleb going to drop down to the bottom side by side at the line, and it's going to be another lap put in the books as Caleb Morrissey gets the spot on Dylan Petit. Dylan drops down to 8th. Caleb moves it up to 7th and is now chasing Kendall Kerr, who's made some spots back up and now finds himself there in 6th. How about that for Kendall Kerr's number 21 team? It looks like after the early incident, able to drive it from outside of the top 20 inside the top 5, and the reason is he's on a new set of tires. 17 laps old compared to 21 for the rest of the field. It's not a major amount. It's not a major difference, not in the slightest, but when the laps keep accumulating and you're under green, shredding tires at over 190 miles an hour, tires will get burnt and you'll have no choice but to manage them accordingly. So Kendall Kerr is going to make the choice to come down to pit road early, and it's going to help him for the time being. Drivers who are losing some time continue to do so. We're looking now at Terry Brooks, and it looks like Connor Holden, who got very loose down the back straightaway inside the top 10, now having some trouble here, and he's hoping to get back in the mix here with Holden Wieners number 81 running strongly early, but now doesn't look to be doing so as he hopes to recover for the later portions of this race. Now going to be behind Lucas Lodano for 15th, Alan Cunman's going to be there in 14th, and Justin Gibbs in 13th, but look back up front to your leading battle. They're still the closest 2 drivers on the track. Dylan Clark and Scott Zellner first and second, and Zellner's making time. It's about a 10th and a half between your top 2 as it stands. Now 23 laps in of 100. So Scott Zellner, he's not playing around at all. He's looking to go for back-to-back victories, not only coming through at Charlotte, but now looking to get it done at Michigan as Adam Bozzi lunges low. Bozzi's got enough room in the garage beer 27 to make a chance of it, but it looks like that chance might not be taken. They're side by side, and the number 2 machinist Scott Zellner remains on the top. Side by side at the stripe. Advantage is going to slightly go to Adam Bozzi, but not going to be enough right now as they go through turns 1 and 2 without a big lunge into the corner. It looks like Bozzi gets just that. He'll go right up high. Is that enough for a crossover maneuver? That we'll see. Scott Zellner tries to get something of it, but just can't find it. Now down the backstretch, looks to recover and keep it going. Now with all the fighting for second place right behind Dylan Clark, it'll give him a chance to extend his lead and not have to worry about his competition, at least directly, as they work with each other and fight for the spot themselves. Dylan Clark gets the chance to sort of run away and get away from all the action as opposed to getting caught up in it. He'll have a chance to make more time and gain more speed compared to those who are running each other over. He's now got clean air, clean track position, and nothing to worry about, at least for the time being. Half a second ahead of Adam Bozzi to this point. Scott Zellner then going to be 3rd, Brad Kress going to be 4th, and Scott Wheeler is going to be 5th, with Caleb Morrissey 6th, James McKee 7th, and Kendall Kerr then going to be now fighting for the 8th position. Looks like he's actually going to get up to 7th right now as as the number 29 machine of James McKee tries to stay on the inside line. They'll be side by side. Down low, James McKee goes. Up top, Kendall Kerr is going to stay, and Roberto Ramirez is also inside the mix too. For Ramirez, one of the drivers on a new set of tire as drivers come down to pit road for the first time tonight. Caleb Morrissey down in, and pit stops are underway, with Morrissey being the first of which to come down to pit road a quarter of the way into the race. And for Caleb Morrissey, first man to come down to pit road. He'll be the first driver to try to make some pit strategy out of this one. And Michigan already shredding up those tires, so other drivers are going to have to begin to think about when they've got to come down and in to their respective pit stalls. 26 laps in out of 100, and now with pit cycles already beginning their stay, we're going to see more drivers coming out of pit road as the night goes on. Dylan Clark has over a half a second lead over his contemporaries in Adam Bozzi and Scott Zellner. And 27 laps in of 100, the 27 machine finds himself now in the runner-up spot. Terry Brooks comes down to pit road this time by in the Culture Designs number 23. He's the second man to come in for a competitive pit stop. Down low, the 23 takes him, and he's got some scuffing on that right side. And now makes it into his pit stall and is ready for another set of General tires. Now here in the ARCA series, which is what this car is modeled after, General tires are used as opposed to Goodyear rubber. Now, Gen 4 stock cars were properly fitted with Goodyears back in their stay in the NASCAR Cup Series and the Nationwide Series, but given the fact it's based on the ARCA Menard Series model, which has been used since at least 2010, we're still using General tires despite the fact that's not necessarily period accurate. That's one of the few discrepancies in iRacing you might see. It's not going to be Goodyear Eagles tonight. It's going to be the General tire seen with their white outline as opposed to the iconic yellow outline on the rubber here. Slicks or scuffs, you can't really use a scuff here in iRacing. You've got to go for brand new slick tires, and right now with drivers knowing they got to manage their sets as they come through, Dylan Clark has yet to come down to pit road. Adam Bozzi is second. Scott Zellner is then in third. Brad Kress is fourth. Scott Wheeler is fifth, and Kendall Kerr is sixth, and that's the way they run with some side-by-side action not too far behind. Look from the rear view perspective of Roberto Ramirez here to see not one but two side-by-side battles. Petit, McKee, then further out, you're going to see Dylan Petit is going to be ahead of Justin Gibbs and Chad Winstead with 72 laps to go. Looks like they're going to file back into a one-by-one line, and even though you'll see some side-by-side action, one driver going to spin out, and that looks to be Alan Kunman with some trouble. Alan Kunman looks to have lost a lot of time down the back straightaway, and yes, it is going to be a caution. Yellow flag will fly, single car spin. Alan Kunman will bring it out, and just like that, we're back under yellow for the second time today. Alan Kunman will go around spinning, and it looks like going through turns 1 and 2 pushes it a bit too much out the corner, and the yellow flag will fly for Alan Kunman and the Tracker Boots number 8 machine. Take a look at this again. And for Kunman, going to spin not once but twice. It's a safety yellow as he comes above the double yellow line, or rather in this track it's only a single white line. So Alan Kunman brings out the yellow flag for the second time today. Number 8 machine of Alan Kunman gets back on the way, thankfully without any major damage. Tires are definitely going to be shredded, but otherwise should be good to go to compete for the rest of this race. Back in the live feed here on FTN, Dylan Clark is your current race leader with 71 laps to go. It'll be Adam Bozzi scored in second, Scott Zellner third, and Brad Kress then in fourth. Looking to see a big run down to pit road this time by with 71 laps remaining. How about we come down to pit road and find out what's in store as the drivers make their way in for the first time tonight. Mostly the first time. Some others have taken at least one stop. With pit row being so busy, Dylan Clark hoping to lead them in and take them out as the leader as well. Pit row is going to be active right now, so let's take a look at what is going on. 70 laps to go, your first major pit stops of the day, with Dylan Clark being the first man in. The question now is whether or not he'll be that first man out. You'll see them all taking 4 tires and fuel right now. Some drivers already leaving. Looks to be Justin Gibbs, and at the pit line, it looks like Scott Zellner barely gets the edge over Dylan Clark. Then you're going to see after that it's going to be not too far behind. Scott Wheeler, Roberto Ramirez also going to be in there. Looks like now you're going to see Petit also making it around. Ramirez was with Kendall Kerr, James McKee, Lucas Lodato, Chad Winstead's around at the top 10, and it's going to be Kenny Brooks now scored in 11th, with Justin Gibbs then in 12th. Pit road got busy, and now it's almost entirely empty. Just like that, your pit cycle going to be on the move again with Scott Zellner, the leading driver, 70 laps to go. Just like that, it's going to be Scott Zellner score as your race leader. Number 70, well, he's not going to be that driver, but with 70 to go, the number 2 is in full command to this point. And for Zellner, Dylan Clark, both the pit stops they expected, starting up inside the front row of this restart. But for a driver like number 27, Adam Bozzi, staying a bit longer than those he was competing with for the race lead. So not the best circumstance for Bozzi, fading back into 5th. It's not many laps, or rather many positions being lost, but lap after lap, that's going to come back to bite a driver who needs that track position to fight for the lead. Michigan will be such a high-speed track. It requires finesse, and it requires from clean air. If you have that clean air, it's a major advantage. If not, you're going to be struggling to make time back up. So as we get back at it this time around, choose rule in effect, and it's going to be a total now of 69 laps remaining. Been a nice race so far with Zellner, Dylan Clark, and Adam Bozzi battling for the lead, and we'll see how much better they can keep it up in front. 2 cautions so far. Your second just came out, and we're set to go back at it once again at lap number 33 of 100. And now the back straightaway packed. Every driver in this event are still on the lead lap. Going back to Caleb Morrissey now, was going to be scored in 22nd. He goes down to pit road a bit late and gets himself back on the move. So Caleb Morrissey's channel lock number 98 machine is back on the way. And this Ford Taurus will keep on going. Despite some troubles on pit road for a few drivers, they are still going to be inside the lead lap vicinity. And all 22 who registered are still fighting for the chance at the race win. Scott Zellner in particular is looking for his second win in a row. He's been one of the best drivers in the Gen 4 area here in the Highline Racing League and wants to keep that success up with another win on the tour. Going back-to-back would be fantastic for this number 2 team as he looks to lead them down to the start-finish line. The pace car will lead the pack and let Scott Zellner do all the work as the green flag flies for the second restart of the day in Michigan. We're green with a total of 68 laps remaining. And with some beating and banging already, drivers getting out to a clean start, top 3. Then you'll see Brad Crest sighting side by side there with Adam Bozzi, not to mention Kendall Kerr, Roberto Ramirez, and it looks like it's going to be some contact with James McKee and Chad Winstead side by side with Bozzi up top, and it's going to be James McKee seeing himself down low, but his teammate Brad Crest fights the battle inside the top 5. Kendall Kerr is also going to be up there as well, so multiple blacktop racing teammates trying to get up into the picture for the race lead, but the 4 horsemen have control, first and third respectively, the Flying Scotsmen of Zellner and Wheeler. Right now, Scott Zellner's got that overall top spot, and Scott Wheeler's going to round out the podium, at least for the time being. All pretty in pink up in front. It's going to be all breast cancer awareness machines, first, second, and third. First, it's going to be Zellner, then Dylan Clark, and Scott Wheeler, and from there on out, you're going to see Adam Bozzi able to make himself known again. He puts himself in the 4th spot, putting his presence back into action. And just like that, there might be a shot for Bozzi to claw back inside the podium if he gets a good enough run within the next few laps. Single file for the most part, save for looks like Caleb Morrissey and Dylan Petit further on back. For a brief moment there, they were side by side, and they come at the start-finish line at a total of 202 miles an hour. How's about we check out the speed right now and check out how quick these drivers are going all throughout the track. Their speed is going to be shown on the top ticker right now for every driver who's on the track at this point, and speed's going to be now right behind the driver's position, and you'll see a minimum of 172 miles an hour. Incredible speed so far, and when they come down the front straightaway, they are that much faster. The leading driver of Scott Zellner gets up to about 203 miles an hour, then backs it down for turns 1 and 2, and you'll see it reflected how quick these drivers are going. Unbelievable. ahead of 200 in both the straightaways, front and back, high speeds, and it takes a lot to manage it as the night goes on. Going to be side-by-side right now between Kendall Kerr and Scott Wheeler. It looks like Blacktop Racing teammate of Kendall is going to be Brad Kress also in the mix. Brad goes up top. Kendall Kerr stays there too. It's going to be side-by-side, the number 97 and the number 21, as they keep each other dead even right now at the stripe. Like Wheeler's got the opportunity to dive it deep in the corner. That he doesn't. It looks like Kendall Kerr actually gets a bit of a better run there, and it'll be good enough to keep him in the mix, despite not having that preferred groove on the middle of the track. The middle seems to be the best for every driver no matter what. It's not about being on the bottom of the track entirely. As you look at Scott Zellner right now, he takes it to the middle of the second groove and keeps it there. The lowest portion of the track is not quick enough. The high side is quite a lot more distance to travel, and when you're shredding tires, you do not want to use up more of your tire with more distance. So you cannot afford to do that right now. 64 laps to go. All drivers on their second tire stint of the day. And now it's going to be Scott Zellner finding himself the race leader with Dylan Clark second, Adam Bozzi third, and Scott Wheeler then in fourth. Kendall Kerr going to be fifth with Chad Winstead sixth and Roberto Ramirez seventh. As you see them shuffling just outside the top five, it's going to be Ramirez, Chad Winstead, Brad Kress all coming together. And with 63 laps to go, going to be a fight to the finish with these drivers who are not inside the top five but still competing for every point possible. Doesn't matter if you're inside the podium, outside the top 20, every placement, every point, it will mean a lot in terms of a full season championship, as opposed to last season in season 15. We are not using a playoff system anymore, so drivers have to fight as much as possible for every spot. Even if it isn't a good running finish, it could mean a difference between getting in front of someone in the point standings or staying behind and fading back in the championship tour. Right now, though, Scott Zellner does not need to worry because he finds himself leading 39 laps in out of 162 laps to go as it stands, and Zellner puts himself ahead by 6/10 over Dylan Clark and Adam Bozzi then in third. And for Dylan Clark, a driver who was very good at the road courses last season, no road courses on the schedule this time around. He dominated both the Charlotte Roval and Watkins Glen, and now with that in mind, Dylan Clark has been able to turn himself into somewhat of a solid oval racer, having a bit of a renaissance as of recent for this number 5 team, running very well at Darlington, the dominant man most of the night, but eventually was not able to hold on, and eventually Adam Bozzi, who came through for the race victory, his first of 2 in a row, then getting his second at Martinsville. But as of recent, Dylan Clark looking better than before and winning the Highline Racing League's Culture Designs Truck Series race this week at New Hampshire. Clark, who was primarily a road course guy coming in this league, has become somewhat of an oval veteran as well, and this time by, it's going to be Dylan Clark who finds himself in the second spot, coming through turns 1 and 2. 41 laps in, out of 100. Now it's going to be 60 laps to go. You'll see Scott Zellner there leading. Bozzi is going to be third. Scott Wheeler is going to be fourth. And Kendall Kerr rounds out the top 5. Let's look on board the Lucas Oil number 21 and see what's going on with Kendall Kerr. For Kendall Kerr right now, running right behind the number 97 of Scott Wheeler, and as we've seen up in front, most drivers have been able to run successfully single file. Now, I'm not quite sure if these guys really want to be single file all too much, knowing it's very challenging to pass here at Michigan. It might be high speeds, but at the same time, managing your own line is almost as important as staying in the draft. And you see a bit of a bobble there from Kendall Kerr. He loses a bit more that time around, and like now he'll be able to slice down to the bottom, trying to make something work to keep up with Scott Wheeler. Wheeler drops low, Adam Bozzi is going to stay high, and the battle for third persists. And even then, Kendall Kerr remains watching right behind, waiting in the wings for an opportunity to make that pass and maybe make something of it as the race continues. 58 laps to go. They've been able to run successfully to this point, clean and mostly green. Chad Winstead gets side by side with Kendall Kerr, quarter panel to quarter panel, and now it's going to be Chad Winstead trying to take that spot away on the bottom side. Just doesn't have enough momentum, at least for now. He'll side draft Kendall Kerr into turns 3 and 4, and the U.S. Air Force number 34 machine dives it deep and gets clear. And now we'll see whether or not Kendall Kerr can make a switchback maneuver and try to get that speed off the exit to make a pass back. That time by just didn't look like he had enough to make that pass, but Lucas Lodano also gets up in the mix. And now for Lucas, who scored in the 7th spot, it could be Lodano making it around to get another position himself. With 57 laps to go, it's going to be Lucas Lodano there with Kendall Kerr fighting just outside the top 5. And looking further up in front, Scott Zellner, your current race leader, 44 laps in of 100. Starting to see some more pressure from Dylan Clark here. Look at the back bumper perspective and take a look at how it looks like as of recent. Dylan Clark has gotten that much quicker, 10th after 10th, lap after lap. That time by only a difference of 3/100ths of a second advantage Dylan Clark, but the lap beforehand it was about 2/10ths of a second lost by Scott Zellner. So while he did have that race lead clearly up in front, he might have worn out his stuff trying to push away from the field, and now coming back to bite him as Dylan Clark makes more and more time back up, trying to get back into the race lead. The number 2 and number 5 are the premier drivers up in front tonight. Adam Bozzi back in 3rd, but your Polster having some trouble getting back up to leading battle himself. He'd need a yellow flag for any opportunity to get within the fight. Right now, it just looks like it won't come his way, and he'll have to wait a bit longer for an opportunity, if there is one at all. And as you can see, coming off of the back straightaway, Dylan Clark's going to have a great chance to get that lunge in turns 3 and 4. Once again, still going to be second on the order, at least for the time being, but still is going to be a waiting game. You cannot expect to get that pass in one turn. You don't win the race on lap 46. That's for certain as well. So for Dylan Clark, even if he's so close right now, you got to remind yourself that it is not going to be all over in one lap. And tire wears are going to be coming into play very big. That time by, Scott Zellner ran a 40.079, which was faster than just about any other driver on the track. However, at the same time, Dylan Clark ran a 40.116. Compared to their best laps, they're over 1 second off because a 38.6 is the best lap Scott Zellner run, and a 38.7 is the best one that Dylan Clark was able to put down earlier in the race as well. So now, tire wear coming into play, and drivers are about a second a lap slower each and every time around, and with 54 laps to go, the question becomes how much more can these drivers bear if they want to get down to the finish up in front. Now, the expectation might just be to split this remainder of the race in half, go 25 more laps with this older tire set, and then from there go more 25 laps with the new set. That could be the best place to go from this point onward, because we're already coming down to our halfway point very soon. Been a rapid fire race so far with only 2 cautions on the day and a lot of clean racing up ahead, even more in the back of the field. Mid-pack is getting feisty here with Brad Crest, Kendall Kerr right next to each other, and you can see the Blacktop Racing teammates getting closer side by side. They'll be coming off the front straightaway. Brad Crest dives down low to try to take the pass from the number 21 at the line. Advantages Kendall Kerr, but not by much. Just enough for the number 9 machine to get a lunge down low and take it deep, make the spot, and just like that, Kendall Kerr fades back into 8th. Looking further though, you're also going to see Roberto Ramirez fighting now with Dylan Petit, and in addition, you'll see Connor Holden, as it's going to be Holden sliding down low and spinning. Connor Holden is going to have another incident, and the yellow flag will fly. Safety yellow again. It looks like thankfully nobody else would have been involved, but the caution will fly either way. 52 laps to go, and Connor Holden will bring out the yellow flag, and just like that, another issue down the back straightaway brings out the yellow at our halfway points. After Connor Holden, the yellow flag going to be brought out once again. Take a look at what just happened here. Now fading back to 21st. And you can see, looks like the 81 machine made no contact on our end. We'll take a little bit further back and find out what just happened, because Holden already going to be reset, but looking for the aerial shot, don't see much of it. Instant replay will show us a bit more. Let's find out what just happened. Take a look once again. Dylan Petit going to be right there. Might have been some rear end contact. The number 31 actually must have made it through here. So looking through turns 1 and 2, if there was contact, which we're about to find out, the 81 of Connor Holden lays down low and it looks like nothing comes of it. 81 Machine's going to lose it on his own, and the yellow flag going to fall with Connor Holden fading back to the bottom of the running order, 22nd and last, now down on pit road. So nothing more going to be there for the 81. Thankfully, once again, like Alan Cummins' incident, nothing else is going to be coming of it besides some worn out tire, and the yellow flag falls yet again for the third caution of the day. Yellow flag will fall, 51 laps to go. Scott Zellner going to come down to pit road, lead the field with them. Dylan Clark's going to be right there behind once again. Pit cycle going to be in full effect. One driver opts to stay out, and it looks like that's going to be Dylan Petit. 31 Machine going to be there. iRacing official pace car right there with them. Everyone else decides to come down to pit road once again. Halfway down, halfway to go, 51 laps in, 50 laps remaining. Let's see who makes it off of pit road first here, with Adam Bozzi up there in the race lead, and the garage beer number 27 going to be taken right past him. Dylan Clark, Scott Zellner. Then it's going to be Adam Bozzi, Scott Wheeler going to round out the top 5 with Lucas Lodato 6th, Chad Winstead 7th, and Ken Leclerc 8th, with James McKee 9th, and Brad Crest then in 10th. So everyone going to be able to make it off of pit road cleanly. A few more going to stay on pit road right now, namely looking back at the bottom of the field, Ty Smith in number 18, Austin Bloom in the number 3, Caleb Morrissey is going to be now making his way off pit road. John Peterson just got on the track as well. Yellow flag will fall with Connor Holden in the back straightaway, giving some trouble once again. First it was Alan Kunman, now Connor Holden, and now with 50 laps to go, making it past the first half of this race. The question is, what do we see in strategy for the remainder of this event? And now that we got a bit of time here with 50 laps remaining, iRacing Motorsport Simulation bring you all the action here on FTN, and we'd like to extend a special offer courtesy of our friends at iRacing to bring a bit more information about what's going on in the iRacing world and the eNASCAR world as a whole. The official eNASCAR newsletter is your one-stop shop for all your eNASCAR and iRacing information, and especially now that things are heating up in the eNASCAR world. The Contender Series just beginning very soon. They'll be getting started next week. The eNASCAR College Series also getting started soon as well. Not to mention the thrilling season finale of the NASCAR Hall of Fame for the Coca-Cola iRacing Series. It's a great time to be involved with the eNASCAR community, and if you want to find out a bit more information about eNASCAR as a whole, be sure to check out the official eNASCAR newsletter. The QR code is on the screen right now, so make sure to scan it. We'd love to have you join as a member of the eNASCAR newsletter, powered by eNASCAR and iRacing. Big news came out today regarding iRacing and NASCAR. The official NASCAR console license is now going to be held by iRacing, and it's a full circle moment. As we heard on Twitter before, it is one of those moments that really makes you wonder. Papyrus, when they were, of course, developing NASCAR simulations just over 20 years ago, they were the precursor to iRacing, and they lost their sim racing license due to the increased success from companies like EA and other console developers. Well, it looks like as time's gone on, those console developers have fallen flat, and iRacing has been continuing to make a high quality product, and now they get a chance to prove it. 2025, NASCAR going to be bringing itself back to the limelight in stock car console games. Stay tuned. We're looking for another great product courtesy of our friends at iRacing as they bring the fun to you here with Dylan Clark and Scott Zellner, first and second. Coming down to pit road, this time by iRacing official pace car is down and in, and the green flag will get him going once again. Dylan Clark will lead him down to the green flag with 48 laps to go, and we're back on our way, led by Dylan Clark. A tremendous jump from Dylan Clark there on the jump there. Look at it. It's going to be Scott Zellner half a second behind, and SSBB Nightwing going to be in the chat representing Caleb Morrissey's team. 18th place right now for Morrissey, right behind the biggest pack we've seen all race long. We're going to see from Lucas Lodato all the way down now to Looks like Connor Holden right there. That's how big this pack is, and they are roaring down the front straightaway at a speed of over 205 miles an hour. That's how quick they are up in the middle of the pack. You don't even have to be at the front of the field to be that quick. That's how fast Michigan can get. It's a pack racing circuit, and while it might not be fully reliant on the draft, high speeds come with drivers all around one another, and the draft is a big piece of the puzzle. They make it by side. Scott Zellner gets the race lead right back. New race leader, the number 2 machine, and Zellner finds himself back up in front, leading once again. And so far on today for Scott Zellner and the number 2 crew, leading multiple laps so far, and in fact 19 out of 53, becoming 20 out of 54. So nearly leading half the laps so far today. Scott Zellner has been in control all night long, and while Dylan Clark has had some chances come and go, it looks like now he's going to see another Scott fly right by him. Scott Wheeler now in second with 46 laps to go. Scott Wheeler makes it by. Adam Bozzi and Lucas Lodato also going to be there side by side. The 27 and the number 27 is going to see the 7 right there too. Queen City Racing both going to be represented by Adam Bozzi and Lucas Lodato, and Lucas, who's been a juggernaut in the Truck Series, sees his Cup Series counterpart Adam Bozzi right there ahead of him. Teammates starting to work together late in the going. The 4 horsemen are first and second. Queen City Racing is 4th and 5th, and Blacktop Racing is 7th and 8th respectively. So the teams are all coming together now in the later portion of this race, and we'll see how well they work together as the night goes on. Kendall Kerr drops down to the bottom side to try to make a pass on Chad Winstead. Winstead goes high, Kendall Kerr goes way down low, has some room, makes the pass, and gets it clean quite easily. James McKee also going to be there too, working down to the bottom side. Number 42 machine of Roberto Ramirez also comes as well. So drivers are now trying to make those passes, finding out where it is best to make risky moves. Aggression is necessary in situations like this. Everyone is so quick, evenly spread speeds for the most part, and if you look at our race leader, Scott Zellner, his most recent lap was a 38.7. If you look back at position number 21, John Peterson in 21st, he just ran a 39.674. It's a second spread throughout the entirety of the field, but if you look to 16th and Caleb Morrissey, he's only 11 thousandths of a second off of your race leader that time by. So it doesn't matter if you're in the front of the field or if you're in the back, everyone can be quick. The difference comes down to tire strategy and track position on those restarts. When you're in a cluster like this, it's very hard to make it out. Let's take a look inside the cockpit of Roberto Ramirez in the heart of the big pack and find out what's going on. And right now, running in the 10th position, battling to stay inside the top 10. You'll see how close everyone is to one another, and more than that, you'll see how close Roberto Ramirez is to the wall lap after lap, pushing to the limit. And right now for Ramirez, who drop it down the bottom side to get away from the troubles of hitting the wall, taking it down low with now the number 9 machine of Brad Kress right up top. It's very close quarters all throughout the field, and notably through the middle sector of the field, they're all as close as they can be. Thousandths of a second separating each and every driver from 5th on down to about 10th, and that's what it's going to be like here in the middle of the field with such a competitive group of drivers. With 42 laps to go, you can't get away from your competition without fighting for a spot, and now 59 laps in for Scott Zellner, who has gotten away. He's looking to wrap it up quite nicely and put it in the books once again. Zellner looking to go for a back-to-back streak of victories, and he has been hot as of recent. The number 2 machine of Scott Zellner, last time he got it done at Charlotte was before last week in the Gen 4 300-mile exhibition we had earlier in the year, and he was able to finish off a Premier Series victory at Kansas the very next day. That's how good Scott Zellner has been able to perform after great races at Charlotte, and it looks like that magic is being carried over once again, this time at Michigan, where he leads by over a second and nearly a second and a half now, with only 40 laps left on the course, timing sheets, and right now Scott Zellner's got himself up there. Scott Wheeler then second, Dylan Clark third, and Lucas Lodato then in fourth. Adam Bozzi going to round out in the top five, and from there on out, you'll see Winstead, Kerr, and James McKee. Roberto Ramirez also there too. They'll be side by side, multiple rows deep, and keep it there for the time being. Double file, lane after lane indeed, and Connor Holmes makes some big steps up. Now number 81 machine finds himself inside the top 10 with smoke billowing. Yellow flag flies with Dylan Clark destroyed. Number 5 machine of Dylan Clark goes around spinning. Yellow flag will fall, and with 40 laps to go, some trouble brings us back to the caution. Now, with Dylan Clark getting some damage from the front of the field. Yellow flag will fly. Dylan Clark going to be involved and just ahead of the pack here. This is the fight for the second position. Dylan Clark right there. Scott Wheeler right behind, and they make contact. Now this looks to be a spin, and it starts with the 97 of Wheeler tapping Clark, taking him down low. Contact then. It looks like Adam Bozzi, Chad Winstead in the grass too. And this is no safety yellow. It looks like multiple drivers involved, namely Dylan Clark. It looks like indeed Scott Wheeler, not to mention some contact with Adam Bozzi. Yellow flag is out again, and Dylan Clark gets the worst of it so far tonight. Yellow flag out with 39 laps remaining. And just like that, huge trouble at the front of the field. Scott Zellner remains advantageous. 39 laps to go. Call is to come down to pit road once again, but not for all, only for some. Looks like some of the leaders opt to stay out. Some choose to come in. And just like that, getting a split on strategy once again. About half the field comes to pit road. About half the field opts to stay out. So a big difference there as the number 2 machine of Scott Zellner now leads the way. His teammate Wheeler right behind him. Lucas Lodato occupies the third spot, and Chad Winstead holds his own then in fourth. With 38 laps to go, we'd like to give you a brief promotional break courtesy of our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations. We'll be right back after this brief message courtesy of iRacing, and we bring you all the action for the remaining laps here in the Highline Racing League. This has been the Motor City 200, and your top 10 go as follows. Top 5 are going to be shown on your screen. Zellner, Wheeler, Lodato, Winstead, and Kerr, with James McKee 6th, Connor Holden 7th, Brad Kress 8th, Justin Gibbs 9th, and Terry Brooks in 10th. We'll be right back after this brief message from iRacing Motorsport Simulations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And coming back now with 37 laps to go, set to go back green with a 36 laps to go marker. Going to be Scott Wheeler, Scott Zellner, first and second. Wheeler going to be down low. Zellner will be your control car, and Chad Winstead then going to be in third. Lucas Lodato going to be fourth, and James McKee rounds out the top 5 with Kendall Kerr 6th, Connor Holden 7th, and Brad Kress then in 8th. If you're joining us for the first time tonight, I've been your host for tonight's broadcast, David Croix. Great to have you alongside us here on FTN. And if you enjoyed the action, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated as we bring to you the final laps here indeed in the Michigan International Speedway. This has been the Motor City 200 presented by Culture Designs, and we'll bring you back to what's left of the racing here on FTN. Now, time to see what these guys got in store. 37 to go, coming down to 36-64 laps completed. Now, it looks like Scott Zellner's got himself a firm chance to come home with the win. Dylan Clark can remain on the lead lap after extensive damage repair. Fades back now, but you can see the effects are still going to be visible. 20 21st on the board. Adam Bozzi now going to be 22nd after another pit stop for him. He's going to fade further back as well. And for your former race leading contenders, Bozzi and Clark both struggling now as the iRacing official pace car comes down to pit road and lets Scott Zellner lead him all over again. Green flag will fly once more with 37 laps to go, with Scott Zellner leading them through with his teammate not too far behind. Down the back straightaway, Lucas Lodato looking for the race lead, and all of a sudden the number 7 comes alive. Could be a new race leader up on the top side. Lucas Lodato gonna try to go for it. He's got the race lead for now, but it might not be enough at the start-finish line. These two battled at Atlanta for a race victory, and it looks like once again Lucas will come through and take himself to the top spot. How about this for Lucas Lodato? 35 laps to go, and a new man at the top of the board for Queen City Racing, who have been on a tear as of recent. It's now going to be their number 7 machine, who's been oh so competitive in the truck series, leading the Premier boys out in front, now ahead of Scott Zellner, the defending race winner. Kendall Kerr also going to be there in third, so how about Kendall Kerr making some moves? Now multiple drivers trying to get up there in the mix and take it away from the number 2. Looked like for a while there Scott Zellner had it said and done, but no longer, as Lucas Lodato makes himself known and leads for the first 2 laps of the day. First 2 for him, at least, with 34 laps to go. Lily Sobey in chat, especially happy to see this number 7 machine come around to the race lead. And for Lodato, we expected this. He's been on a part-time campaign, coming directly from the Truck Series up to the Premier League. And even though that's a big adjustment for most of the drivers who have gone through it, Lucas Lodato has been here, and it looks like he's been here for a while. I'll tell you this much. He raced very competitively at Atlanta, and he turned some heads for sure. But now, getting a chance to do so once again, leading the way in the most important stretch of the race. This is crunch time, and now for the drivers up at the front of the field, they've got another new driver to deal with. New faces in new places, as Kendall Kerr now finds himself back inside the top 3. Kendall's going to drop down to the bottom side. Take a look at this. It's now going to be the Lucas Oil Chevrolet taking it up to the runner-up position. Just like that, another driver takes it through, and it could be Kendall Kerr now fighting with Lucas Lodato for that race lead. Lucas has himself up in front with 33 laps to go, and taking a look further on back, Kendall Kerr is second, Scott Zellner's third, Chad Winstead's fourth, and now Caleb Morrissey is inside the top 5, looking for his best race finish of the season. A lot of drivers coming through with new highs on the tour, looking to make it a first victory for one, a first top 5 for another, and these drivers are now going to have to fight for it when it matters the most. Lucas Lodato sees Kendall Kerr right behind him, first and second, 69 laps in. Nice pass for a race lead so far. It's been able to hold up well, but Kendall Kerr is not done yet, and he's certain to make a run at it when it matters most. And looking for the back bumper here from Lucas Lodato, wiggles up to the wall and gets in there quite a bit, and it's going to be a huge piece of the wall there, and just like that, back down to earth with Kendall Kerr coming through. Now it's going to be multiple drivers fighting for the race lead. Taking a look at this, you'll also see right behind it's going to be the number 98 machine. Make way now for the Jonestown Jet. Caleb Morrissey fights for the race lead as well, and it's going to be the number 98 machine, Channel Lock's own. Now puts it up in front. Caleb Morrissey with Kendall Kerr fighting side by side. New man on the top of the board, and it's now going to be Caleb Morrissey leading for the first time in the Gen 4s this season. How about this? Another driver rises to the top. New man at the top of the board, and it's going to be Caleb Morrissey with 30 laps remaining. It's a big bundle of drivers now. Alan Cumman, Chad Winstead there too. And all of a sudden, it went from a 3-man race to a 6-man race, and they're all going back and forth with the positions they have. Kendall Kerr drops it down to the bottom side, tries to get that run off the corner, not enough. Lucas Lodato in the wall once again. He's getting beaten and banged from all angles, and when he made that contact down the front straightaway, that's what sealed the deal, and now he's gonna have to keep fighting with that damage till the rest of the race is over. Heartbreaker for Lucas. If he can keep on going inside the top 10 or even the top 5, it'd be great, but certainly not the finish he's looking for. Now it's in trouble late in the going. Caleb Moore Morrissey jumps up to the lead with 29 laps to go. New man on top, and Morrissey wants to get it done for the first time this season. And it looks like he's now got a chance to come through and get it done on top of the board. Just like that, Caleb Morrissey's got the advantage. He nearly gets on the wall as well, and getting a piece of that wall would be a death sentence for his run because Kendall Kerr is right there, and he won't hold back. Relentless racing up in front now in the final stages. 72 laps in out of 100. Kendall Kerr going to drop down to the bottom side to try to make something stick. Nothing comes of it there, but he's having the front straightaway to himself. Goes down low, and at the line, nearly dead even. Now going to be advantage. Kendall Kerr going through turns 1 and 2. Does he put down a lunge? Doesn't try to. He'll keep it dead even and try to go through fairly. And using that second groove, that's been the best one for every driver all night long. Caleb Morrissey knows that Kendall Kerr's already got a shot to win, but for this number 98 crew, they're still looking for their first on the tour. It's not been as much of a fruitful season as it was season prior, but a race victory could turn it all around and bring Caleb Morrissey back into contention as a race-winning threat. There's no doubt he's got the talent and the ability to do so, but just has not found himself in the right situation to show what he's got on a week-by-week basis. And now that he's got himself with that race lead, clean air, track position and all, it's time for Caleb Morrissey to fight for what he wants. And think about his run right now, which is different from most others. He's on new tires, and that makes it quite different because Alan Cummins also on new tires, and he's flying up on the both of them while Caleb Morrissey is struggling to keep that lead over Kendall Kerr. Alan Cummins comes up on his teammate and is going to have an easy way through. Looking at this, Kendall Kerr going to try to block, and they nearly make contact, but Alan Cummins going to drive up high, and he has so much more grip through the corner, so he'll be able to fly through whenever he's got an opening. Kendall Kerr at the line keeps it side by side with Caleb Morrissey as the caution flies. 26 laps to go. Connor Holden gets involved. Yellow flag is out once again. Connor Holden looks like he got a piece of it, and the yellow flag is out. 75 laps in out of 100. And getting the instant replay on the matter here with Connor Holden in the number 81. Let's find out what's going on and see what caused this one. As Holden's getting right there up to the top of the track, then makes contact with Justin Gibbs. Gibbs is going to get a piece of him. Then that's going to send the 81 of Connor Holden sliding down the track. And once again, no major damage, but still going to be losing track position. Yellow flag flies again with 26 laps to go. And just like that, the caution out once again. Home stretch just ahead of us now. Green flag set to wave with about 22 laps remaining, and that's going to bring us down to the final stretch here in Michigan. Caleb Morrissey, your race leader, who is set to come down a pit road once again, brings the field in, and we're in for a money stop here with now just over a quarter of the race remaining. Morrissey, Kendall Kerr, Alan Cummins, Austin Bloom, and Scott Zellner all coming in this time by, saving grace for a driver like Lucas Lodato as well. So we are going to see multiple drivers getting what they want. Some others certainly did not want to see this come out. And just like that, 25 laps to go. Pit cycle is going to be on the move. And it looks like drivers still making their way in. Caleb Morrissey gets out to a hot start on pit road, but it's not going to be enough to best Kendall Kerr. Kendall Kerr will win off pit road from Caleb Morrissey. Then going to be Alan Cummins. Looks like not too far behind after. It's going to be Scott Zellner, Austin Bloom, Chad Winstead, James McKee, Brad Kress, Justin Gibbs, and Tyler Rush to round out the top 10. Pit road going to be empty as we speak, and Kendall Kerr looks to be the new race leader. Now just ahead of the number 6 machine of Caleb Morrissey and Alan Cummins. Number 8 is now scored in third. As the field gets sorted up once again for another restart tonight in, of course, Michigan has it. We take a look at our weather for tonight's event and see what's going on, not only when it comes to air temperature, but of course, track temperature, another key difference. 72 degrees in the air tonight, and it looks like northwest winds of 2 miles an hour, mostly cloudy skies, but some sunshine peeking through, so overall, very fair conditions on the track tonight. Not much else has gone the way of the drivers when it comes to tire wear and shredding, but but it hasn't been all too chaotic weather tonight, so we shouldn't expect anything adverse coming through. The drivers have gotten this far. They understand what they got to do when it comes to tire saving and whatnot, so should be good to go the rest of the way. Set to restart with 23 laps remaining on the agenda, and it's going to be between Morrissey and Kendall Kerr first and second. Alan Cumming third, Scott Zellner fourth, Austin Bloom then fifth, and Chad Winstead in sixth. Seventh place going to be held by James McKee as we get back at it once again. Final stretch is upon us here in Michigan, and now time to see if the money stop really paid off for a guy like Caleb Morrissey or Kendall Kerr, or if someone else further on back in the field will be able to cash in and get that race victory in the Motor City 200. And as the field flies by, it's the channel lock number 98 that turns some heads in the final laps of the most recent green flag stint. And now he's looking to do it all over again. 23 laps to go when Caleb Morrissey in the field get back to the green flag, and it's time to prove that this number 98 still has a win or two left in the season. Not able to get one so far to this point, but it is not a done deal this season at all, and it would be great to knock it down with an opportunity in mind here in Michigan. The iRacing official pace car will let the field go loose once again, letting both Caleb Morrissey and Kendall Kerr get back at it once more. So let's do that once again. Green flag set to fly. Kendall Kerr and Caleb Morrissey get right back at it with 24 laps to go, sending it right down to 23. Green flags out yet again from Brooklyn, Michigan. Green flags out once more indeed, and it's going to be Kendall Kerr with a jump start over the field. And going to be a great start there for Kendall Kerr with Caleb Morrissey not too far behind. 23 laps to go on the day, and as always here in FTN with 22 laps to go, we crank it up courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com for the highest quality iRacing camera platform on the market. And there's going to be Alan Cummins sliding big time down a pit road. Trouble for Cunman. He's going to be off the racing circuit. The call is not to give him a caution. Yellow flag will not fly as Alan Cunman finds trouble. Let's take an instant replay before we crank it up here, as it's a huge hit for Alan Cunman from the top three. Take a look at this once again. We're set to crank it up here with 22 laps to go. Checking it out once more, seeing what caused this incident. Looks like Alan Cunman on his own wiggles up the track, and that's what's going to cause Cunman to lose it all. Front end is destroyed, and he bounces off the wall back to the infield grass. 22 laps to go, and after an instant replay, we'll bring you back to crank it up, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. And the crank it up will be postponed. Looks like it's going to be immediately a spin as soon as we get right into it. Yellow flag will fall. Terry Brooks involved, and the yellow flag will come out indeed. So 80 laps in of 100. Terry Brooks gets caught up in it. Let's get an instant replay and find out what happened here. The instant replay will show you just what caused the wreck. As we bring it back to your normal volume settings, these Gen 4s can roar into the camera quite well. So we'll try to show you the footage, and it looks like Brooks, like Connor Holden and Alan Cunman before him, just finding some trouble out of the exit of turn 2. That's exactly what will bring out the yellow flag once again. The backstretch has caught out multiple drivers so far. Of all the incidents we've seen, that one's been the most common. So this yellow flag is going to be back in the air. Crank it up will be postponed. We'll bring you back after the restart with a crank it up as we come now with less than 20 laps to go. Caleb Morrissey is scored as your race leader, and we bring you back to the live feed. That is still the case. It looks like Terry Brooks is on the way, but Caleb Morrissey is the man leading. 20 laps to go. Pit stops have been made that should send us to the end of this race, so nothing else to worry about when it comes to pit strategy. Now it's in the hands of the drivers as they choose their fate to finish off the night. They come through this time by Caleb Morrissey with now Kendall Kerr right behind him. It's going to be Scott Zellner third, and the fourth place going to be occupied now by Chad Winstead. Top four are going to be held by drivers. Of course, we are very familiar to seeing up in front two of the four horsemen up ahead, with Kendall Kerr being the Blacktop Racing representative. Chad Winstead is going to be running in the fourth position right there too. James McKee rounds out the top five, and you'll see Brad Crest also going to be in sixth. Big trouble for Alan Kudman. He looks to be the first driver that will not have a chance to win this race at all. He's alone on pit road right now, so not much else to say about that number 8 after a huge hit. You saw it on the replay. I don't think there's a chance he'll come back out on the track, at least in a competitive shape, to try to fight for the race win. Caleb Morrissey, though, now seeing himself in another chance to break away on the restart. 19 laps to go. Will be set to go back green with a total of just about 17 laps remaining. That's how little we have remaining in this event. If you made it this far, tell you this much, still a ways to go. At speeds of over 200 miles an hour, it all happens in a blink of an eye, so making a mistake, you seldom want to run into one. It's all about avoiding issues and finding yourself up in front when it matters the most here. So with 19 remaining, Channel Lock's number 98 has that advantage. It's Caleb Morrissey over Kendall Kerr second, Scott Zellner third, and Chad Winstead then in fourth. Going to be James McKee fifth, then Brad Crest sixth, then Justin Gibbs seventh, and Austin Blue in eighth. Dylan Petit going to be ninth, and Connor Holden then in 10th, with now Scott Wheeler 11th and Roberto Ramirez rounding out your top dozen. Side by side, they're going to be set to go once again. The choose rule looks to be still in effect. Looks like Morrissey chooses low, and Kendall Kerr opts to go up. Does he? Looks like he changes his mind last second. That's going to give Scott Zellner the shot up high. Two of the four horsemen control your front row. Well, a big change in that regard. Teammates working to get up to the front of the field and now have a chance to lead a line by themselves. We'll see how well that works out with only 18 laps left. Last dash. Morrissey, 83 laps in, leads the way, and he's looking to take it down to the 100th and final with the advantage. And with the iRacing official pace car coming into pit road this time by, with a restart in mind, the iRacing official pace car will lead us into our TrackCams22.com Crank It Up. Going to be postponed due to an incident immediately after we got the Crank It Up going, but otherwise, for cameras, for your cars and tracks and iRacing, over 100 combinations of content available on TrackCams22.com's platform of cameras. So be sure to check out their work today at TrackCams22.com or Facebook.com/TrackCams for more information. The best camera service on the iRacing market. Check out TrackCams22.com today, as TrackCam for Gormans brings you to your 22 to go. Crank it up, as we will get back to it here with the last dash just ahead. iRacing official pace car will lead him down and in this time by. The green flag is set to fly, and it's going to be Morrissey first, then Scott Zellner second. Let's get back at it once again. 18 laps to go, down to 17, and we'll crank it up here uninterrupted on FTN. This is the Motor City 200, and we're back on our way with 17 laps to go. laps to go with Caleb Morrissey and his teammate in Scott Zellner fighting for the race lead, and it's only a dozen laps remaining to get this one done in Michigan. Back from our TrackCams22.com, crank it up, and you see Caleb Morrissey still got that edge, but not too far behind. You're also going to see Zellner, Winstead, Kendall Kerr, and Connor Holden inside the top 5. Holden making his way through the Lucas Oil number 21, going to be there in 4th, and the pack is brewing right behind as well. Side by side, Roberto Ramirez is also going to be with Alan Cummins. It looks like his teammate Alan Cummins and James McKee. Not to mention, it's going to be Dylan Petit, Justin Gibbs, and Scott Wheeler there too. So while one Scott is inside the middle of the pack, there's another fighting for that top spot. And with 11 laps to go, Caleb Morrissey looks poised to get it done. If he can just hold on a few more laps against his own teammates, he should be good to go to come through with his first win of the season. Looking for back-to-back seasons as a race winner, the Channel Lock number 98 machine has been able to lock it down twice before in the most recent season beforehand, but these Gen 4s are a different animal and require a much different way of driving them. So even if you're good at one set of stock car, you might not be good at the next. Caleb Morrissey proving to prove that he's another one of those versatile drivers who gets it done no matter what. He gets loose though and keeps it very loose. Coming down to the back straightaway, he's going to get it almost in the wall. Morrissey is nearly out of sorts, but keeps it together very nicely, and that could have been make or break. Zellner now takes the race lead, and Chad Winstead is there too. All of a sudden, it might be done and done for Caleb Morrissey, pushing it oh so hard, and it's going to show. Now Morrissey fades back big, down to 3rd, and Kendall Kerr is looking to take that final spot in the podium too. Huge differences in one lap, and now Caleb Morrissey finds himself in 3rd and will need a miracle to get back up there. And how about that one? Because now Scott Zellner's got the shot to take the race lead, and Morrissey's going to have to claw back from 3rd, which is not a large difference in terms of position, but 2 spots at Michigan are very hard to get back in a situation like this. When everyone's fighting so hard for everything they got, you do not want to give away even 1 spot, let alone multiple. And now high side ride, and Caleb Morrissey's going to go. The best thing about what he just did there was he was able to keep it away from the wall, despite how slow he got manhandling it back in control. He does not have damage to worry about and should be good to keep on going. Even now, he's being hustled for 3rd. Kendall Kerr going to go down to the bottom side, and he tries to take that 3rd spot away. Has not found success just yet, but Scott Zellner has success in holding off for the race lead. Chad Winstead is right there, but has not found the gap and hopes to keep on looking as time is running out. The number 34 machine of Chad Winstead now drops it down low. They're going to be side by side, nearly dead even, and Zellner still has a chance to go back-to-back for race wins, but not if Winstead does anything about it. They will be dead even once again with Caleb Morrissey now deep in the wall. He's destroyed and fades back far into the field. Now with 7 laps remaining, Caleb Morrissey now is going to be finding himself in the 7th spot, and it looks like for a fantastic run he's had tonight, he will not be able to see the labor of his work. Of course, synonyms himself, but it would be, unfortunately, the results not showing at the end of the day. The numbers will not show exactly what this number 98 did, and for Caleb Morrissey, that's a shame, as his teammate now looks to finish the job up in front. 7 laps to go. He's got it up there, but it's going to be now Zellner loose, and nearly gets in the Chad Winstead. Justin Gibbs is going to lose it too. Does Justin keep it together? It looks like that he does. No yellow flag flies. Everyone keeps it green, and just like that, 95 laps in, Chad Winstead's now got the top spot, and now it's going to be Scott Zellner fighting with Kendall Kerr right there side by side. Winstead now has it out in front, looking to get it done as an oval race winner. He not often gets it done here. Chad Winstead knows that this is not his forte, but it looks like now he finds himself in the perfect position to come through on top. Defending winner of Scott Zellner right there too with a wreck. Big wreck in the back of the field. Yellow flag is due to fly, and that it will. It looks like we got a smoke show, and Caleb Morrissey looks to be involved. Yellow flag is out. 6 laps to go. Caleb Morrissey going to bring it out, and we are now going to have one final caution. Instant replay will show you what just happened. Caleb Morrissey involved in this wreck, so let's take a look in depth and find out what caused it as Morrissey gets loose, tries to save it, clearly trying to steer it out the way, but just can't. Then it's going to be Scott Wheeler making contact, and Morrissey, while he spins it around, gets some more damage too. Yellow flag is out for Caleb Morrissey, spinning 96 laps in now, and the yellow flag is out for what should be the final time today. Now, as we bring it back to live feed, Chad Winstead finds himself advantageous as he tries to come through for his first win of the season. He's been waiting since Mid-Ohio of last season for the opportunity to get back to victory lane. And when we say Mid-Ohio, not season 15, season 14. That's how long it's been for Chad Winstead trying to get back on top, as we see a big difference now. Track position is now fighting against those who come down to pit road, and Roberto Ramirez, your defending Michigan winner, he knows what it takes to win off strategy. He stays out. He brings Connor Holden with them and takes out a Bozzi right there too. Pit road, though, going to be active with most drivers coming in, and with 4 laps to go, pit road is going to come alive one more time for a final pit stop to decide who's got a shot up in front. Big pit stop there. Looks like another driver leaving. Scott Zellner going to come out right there with, looks like the number 29 machine, or no, it looks like it's going to be instead right there with Zellner, the number 2. He's going to be with James McKee and the number 29. Dylan Petit going to be right there as well. Number 31 machine. Scott Wheeler going to find himself now in 12th. Kendall Kerr 13th. And Chad Winstead in 14th. Elaine Coons, Lauren Zellner, Nick Rhodes, Lily Sobey, Strawberry Could, SSB Nightwing. All the viewers in chat, you've come and you've seen so much so far. This is it. We're expecting what should be a natural green-white checkered. So with that in mind, let's explain the scenario when it comes down to how we'll run the final 2 laps of this race. The way we're looking at it, we should have the opportunity or the ability to extend the race by an extra set of green flag laps. Now, it should not be used unless we get an extra caution, in which case we go to that one and only extra overtime finish and finish the race out, checkers or wreckers. But if we finish it within the 100 scheduled laps, which we have on the table, in that case, we need to get to the white flag to make it official. The white flag comes out no matter what happens, checkers or wreckers, we will find ourselves with a winner. When the leader comes to the checkered flag, no matter who it is, no matter what circumstance, they'll have sealed the deal and made it through with the race win intact. This is a green-white checkered finish and a natural one at that. We have 1 overtime finish still in the bank, so we still have an opportunity to finish just under green, even if we get 1 more caution on the day. 98 laps in, out of 100. This is a green-white checkered in the Highline Racing League, and not often we get the chance to go for 2 at the most. Hopefully, we keep it down to 1. It's going to be Connor Holden right down low, Roberto Ramirez right up high, Adam Bozzi now going to be in 3rd with Terry Brooks in 4th. And for Connor Holden, he's trying to get it done after an early spin in this one. Roberto Ramirez, who found himself in trouble early as well in the first lap caution, or the second lap caution it'll be, he's now there and looking to defend his Michigan victory from last season. This is it, and this will be the final stretch of 4 miles, 2 racing laps to determine who gets it done and who comes home with the trophy from the Motor City 200 presented by Culture Designs. And it's going to be all about the comeback kids up in front. Holden, Ramirez, Bozzi, and Terry Brooks, all of which suffering from issues earlier in the race. Now they've got track position. Your first 8 drivers stayed out on the circuit, and they hope to make it a good finish. The iRacing official pace car comes down to pit road. It's a natural green-white checkered, and Ramirez leads them to green. 2 laps remaining. We're back on our way with a green-white checkered from Michigan. And with Ramirez out in front. He's got that lead down the back straightaway, and his big hope is that we get to that white flag in one piece. Look at a wide-angle shot. You'll see 3 wide already. Brad Kress going to dive right through Austin Bloom and Caleb Morrissey, already fighting big as Bloom's up to the top of the wall. You'll see them all coming out of the start-finish line here and now with Adam Bozzi making big moves with 1 lap remaining. It's going to be official, and the white flag will fly with Roberto Ramirez leading. 1 lap to go. Ramirez leads him, and Bozzi's going to be there in second. 1-2 between the 42 and 27. Queen City Racing looking for another win, and Ramirez wants to defend his crown here in Michigan. But take a look like down low. Scott Zellner is going forward, and the new tires are coming up fast. Number 2 Michigan Zellner now in the mix, goes right up high. He's got a rocket ship, and so does Chad Winstead. Chad Winstead takes it down low. 3 wide for the lead. Goes through and makes the pass to stick it through. It's going to be Chad Winstead out of nowhere going to victory lane. Fight for second behind him, but it's no use. Chad Winstead wins at an oval. And for Winstead, the new tire gamble pays off, and he pulls through ahead of Zellner and Ramirez just behind him. Man, oh man. For Chad Winstead, he's been here a long time coming, an oval win. He finally gets it done in the most thrilling of fashions. Green-white checkered, last lap pass, and Chad Winstead of the U.S. Air Force number 34 get it done in Michigan. And for Winstead, he will get it done indeed. Chad Winstead wins from Scott Zellner in second, and Roberto Ramirez then in third, with Adam Bozzi fourth, and Lucas Lodato then in sixth. Could be Brad Kress in sixth, and then Kenny Brooks seventh, with Connor Holden coming home eighth, and John Peterson on his return to the Premier Series coming through in ninth. Jacob Halm rounds out the top 10 with 11th occupied by Austin Bloom, 12th by Caleb Morrissey, then going to be 13th in Tyler Rush. 14th going to be Scott Wheeler, and 15th Ty Smith, with Kendall Kerr 16th and Justin Gibbs in 17th. Dylan Clark finds himself 18th with a tremendous run early. Dylan Petit is going to be 19th, and Terry Brooks rounds out your top 20. Then from there, we're going to be James McKee 21st, and Alan Cummin rounds out the field 22nd and last. How about that? And it's now time to see your race winner burn down the house. Chad Winstead gets it done. And pulling it into victory lane, Chad Winstead gets it done and finds himself first on the order at an oval. It's a tremendous victory for the number 34 team, and they've been waiting such a long time, knowing someday it would come, and today is that day. Chad Winstead pulls it through with a beautiful last lap pass and gets it done for the Michigan International Speedway to win his first race of the season. How about this one for the number 34 of Chad Winstead, getting it done and finding himself at the top of the board. And we're going to get an interview with our number 34 who pulls it through for a first place finish here in the Motor City 200. Chad Winstead, the gamble on strategy to make it work on new tires, the last lap pass, the final lap moments that all came together for a fantastic finish. How about that? Chad Winstead, how you feeling?
Man, I feel amazing. That was a roller coaster of emotions there. I was kind of moping on the interview, or moping over the mic. I thought for sure that when so many cars stayed out and I lost a couple of spots on pit road, that was my race, and we were going to have a great finish there. You know, I was really not wanting that caution to come out, obviously, and I feel a little bit better about it now. So.
And it looks like everything came together despite the late race caution. It looked like in those final 20 laps, this number 34 was on rails, putting it together when it mattered the most. How was it working on the clutch and executing in the final stages?
Yeah, I learned a lot during that race. I usually love Michigan. Did not have a great qualifying effort and felt kind of slow that first run, but I learned a lot, and then just seemed like I saved tire just a little bit better than everybody else on that last run and was able to get to the front there and thought I was going to walk away with it, and then had the craziest finish I think ever in iRacing. I restarted in 14th place after the pit cycle there with 3 laps to go. I think I was in 7th or something coming to the white flag. So to come away with the win is pretty unbelievable.
And how about this finish for this team looking for an oval victory? And we've seen you proficient at these road courses, but making it happen at an oval is another big deal in itself. Now you've got this momentum, and it's full steam ahead onto our next race of the schedule. And that next race is going to be, of course, next week. We're going to find ourselves at New Hampshire up next. So how's going to be taking this to the Magic Mile?
So I ran the truck series at New Hampshire on Tuesday with some of these guys, and it was a lot of fun. Multi-lane battling. It was a good time. So I feel pretty good. Got some confidence after this win because I started out the season a little rough. I've gotten wrecked a couple times and just had some bad luck, and then I had to miss Charlotte for work. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can carry this momentum in there and at least hopefully come away with another win. If not, a top 5 because I need it desperately to get back into this points battle.
And everything needed to put yourself back in the picture. Chad Winstead, a victory at Michigan, seals the deal in the Motor City 200 victory lane in season 16. Anything else you'd like to add after tonight's event?
I just want to shout out to my teammates over at Queen City Racing. We're on fire lately. Got a lot of wins lately, and hopefully we can carry this and bring home the first championship for the team this year. And thanks to my wife that's out there watching and any friends and family that tuned in tonight. So, and thank you for putting this broadcast on. Hopefully put on a good show there at the end. That was a wild finish.
And Chad Winstead puts on a thriller, winning here for the Michigan International Speedway victory lane with a 3-wide last-minute pass. How about that one for the 34 crew and the Air Force sponsorship? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And also one more shout out. Thanks for Dylan Body for this amazing paint scheme. Thanks, man.
There we have it. Chad Winstead going to be on the way, pulling it through in first. And for Scott Zauner, he's been on fire as of recent. The number 2 machine comes through for a second place finish directly after winning in Charlotte. And it's back-to-back podiums, so close to a back-to-back win. How about this, where they see here in Michigan, a thrilling finish, coming home second.
A little disappointed because I thought I had the fastest car in between lap like 30 and 50. Yeah, finishing second really sucks. But I really thought that on those old tires, Adam and Roberto were going to lift early going into 3 and 4. So I sent it on the top, and obviously that was the wrong move because they both sent it into 3 and 4, and that's how Chad got by both of them. But yeah, you live and you learn. I can't really complain. The last 3 races was 2 wins and a second. So try to get back to the winning ways next week.
And being incredibly consistent up in front, this team has had no trouble doing just that. And tonight, we saw a bit more chaos at Michigan, a big track than we'd expect, especially with a very late green, white, checkered finish. How was it managing the longer runs and the short runs all together, which eventually led to a final green, white, checkered shootout?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on this year. It seems like we're having a lot more yellows. I really hope it gets cleaned up soon because I definitely thrive on the longer green flag run. I feel like that's where the cream really rises to the top. Yeah, so it's a little disappointing to see all the yellows. But managing the tires, the first run, I tried to do it a little conservatively, and it didn't pay off towards the end of the run like I thought it would have. So I'd say I wasn't running, qualifying laps, but I was definitely running pretty hard most of the night. Thought it was going to come down to fuel, but like you said, too many yellows. Honestly, that last restart was pretty awesome. I went from 9th to 2nd, so I definitely wasn't expecting that. But I figured once I lost the lead, might as well try, something out of the hat. And yeah.
And making a late recovery to grab some positions before we head on to the Magic Mile in New Hampshire. Been a very successful season so far in terms of your individual performance. How do you feel heading on to New Hampshire for the next round of the tour?
To be honest with you, I'm not really quite sure. I haven't really driven that track in these cars. I'm generally not a short track fan, so we'll see how it goes. Really hoping to get another top 5, and even though I missed 2 races this year, I think I'm still putting the good finishes together, and I think I will still have at least a glimmer of hope to winning the championship. So just gonna try to get the best results we can each and every week, and see if we can't battle it out at the end at Homestead.
There's still a fighting chance for this number 2 team. Scott Zauner, the number 2, come home second today in Michigan. Hey, Van, final thoughts after tonight's event?
Just want to thank everybody at Four Horsemen Racing with Austin, Caleb, and Scott. Just want to thank FTN for putting on these broadcasts every week. It's a pleasure to watch them back on Fridays. And shout out to all my family watching. Little Miles is sick, so I'm going to go put on the dad shoes and try to get him through the night.
There we have it. Scott Zauner stepping away from the sim with a second place finish on the night. Second place here for the Motor City 200. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, David.
But Scott Zauner on the move. Our defending winner from Michigan coming in tonight still finishes with a top 3 finish overall. Roberto Ramirez, top 3 with a strategic call to stay out on the track, and it works out for a podium. How do you feel after tonight?
I wish I still had a tire set left, getting spun early on kind of set me back the entire race, because I had one less set in my back pocket pretty much the entire time compared to everyone else. So it really wasn't much of a strategy at the end. It was my only choice. And I thought it was going to work out for a second. Thought we were going to go back-to-back at Michigan, and then in the turn 3, I saw a little tiny blip in my rearview mirror, and I was like, I hope that's not the 34. And sure enough, it was. Still a really good run. I haven't felt that good about my race pace in maybe ever. Like, that was one of the best races I've ever run. It didn't really matter how wrong the strategy went throughout the race, because it went wrong a lot. Tried quite a few different things that didn't work, and still was able to get back up to the front just about every time. And it's just a lot of fun, man. Like, these cars are so fun. And I wish I was full-time this season, because I had a blast tonight.
And it looks like a lot of things to take note of for this 42 team. Despite, as you mentioned, strategic, being up and down throughout the order, this team had a lot of speed tonight, running throughout the pack, and coming home with the podium is, of course, showing that's indeed the case. So how was it with the race pace being so quick here at Michigan, over 200 miles an hour unrestricted?
It was just so fun. I don't know any other way to explain it, man. It was just like I was on the edge of my seat the whole time and making moves, and for some reason, despite how hard these cars are to control, I felt like I was completely in control. And I'm usually not one to make too aggressive of moves, and I usually bite myself for that. But tonight I just had all the confidence in the world, and it paid off, I think. Last year we won this race on fuel strategy, and I was terrible the whole race on race pace, and about won the thing again. But this time we probably would have deserved it a little bit more. But man, what a race! That was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the next one for sure.
And they're going to keep the good momentum going into New Hampshire. Up next on the schedule, going to be the Magic Mile. So with that in mind, how do you feel with this speed going to another track that's much different?
Well, New Hampshire's probably won't hear this out of a lot of people, but New Hampshire is one of my favorite tracks to run on the sim. So I'll definitely be there for sure, and looking forward to keep the momentum going. It's been hasn't been my best year of league racing, I'll put it that way, but been kind of having a lot, just trying to enjoy it more lately. Still trying to get over the cold. Sorry if I'm hard to understand, but about put a flu game on him like MJ tonight. Just wasn't meant to be.
Pulling through for a solid third place finish all the night here in the Michigan International Speedway, the number 42 of Roberto Ramirez rounds out the podium here in the Northeast. Any final thoughts you'd like to add after tonight's event?
Yeah, thank you for putting on the broadcast. Thank everyone for putting on the series. It's always a blast, and yeah, had a blast.
There we have it. It's going to be Roberto Ramirez, third place on today here in the Motor City 200, wrapping off our podium ceremony. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, with Roberto Ramirez on the move, the number 42 machine finishes in third, with second place being occupied then by Scott Zellner and Chad Winstead. Then in first, posing through for a thrilling 3-wide finish. Take a look at this once again. And we're going to switch this from our, of course, slow-mo to our final moments, and you see how much chaos there is, and then Chad Winstead makes that perfect move down low that seals the deal and gets him into victory lane. And everyone else fights right behind, nothing more they can do as Chad Winstead comes home as the winner here in the Motor City 200. Up next, an FTN doubleheader on Saturday night. It's going to be another great one to watch, the Full Send Super Speedway Series, and in addition, it's going to be the Saturday Night Truck Series, both at the same day. It's going to be Saturday, another doubleheader here on FTN. So we thank you all for watching tonight as we're going to wrap up our feed next week, Thursday night. It's going to be New Hampshire, so we hope you all enjoy that as well as we've been watching the Highline Racing League in Season 16. I've been David Kreutz, showing you through all the action tonight, producing and commentating. We hope you enjoyed tonight's event. From our studios to your homes, we hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation of the Motor City 200 and hope to see you all whenever we're live again on FTN. Thank you all for your support, and we hope you have a great night.